Okay, I'm starting now. Hi, Jay.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. So today's syllabi is all about art as activism. Um, and let me just find the title. Yeah, it's Art Until Anthem. We will be reading June Jordan's poem about my rights. And I've already given the links for you to watch Amiri Baraka's Somebody Blew Up America and Franny Choi's Pork Fried Rice. We're going to start with June Jordan. The reason that I chose art as anthem, because I think we're in a place. Jay, can you mute for me?
Oh, sure.
Thanks. I think we're at a place in poetry specifically when we're listening to folks and reading things, especially in this life and time of Trump or Dump. We want to be moved. We want to be moved to change and to think of change. We want to be moved to be inspired. You know, I don't necessarily look for hope anymore, but I do look for a voice when it comes to voicing my anger and articulating my frustration. And some of my favorite pieces are from poets who do that and do it well. So we have Audre Lorde articulating rage. We have Sonia Sanchez and Nikki Giovanni. We have Amiri Baraka. Hi, Claudia.
Hi.
Can you mute for me? Thanks. We have these amazing, amazing, amazing writers making sense of the pain, making sense of the frustration. So that is why I wanted to have our last lecture be about art until anthem. I'll start with June Jordan, poem about my rights. Even tonight, and I need to take a walk and clear my head about this poem, about why I can't go out without changing my clothes, my shoes, my body posture, my gender identity, my age, my status as a woman alone in the evening, alone on the streets, alone not being the point being that I can't do what I want to do with my own body because I am the wrong sex, the wrong age, the wrong skin, and suppose it was not here in the city but down on the beach or far into the woods, and I wanted to go there by myself thinking about God or thinking about children or thinking about the world, all of it disclosed by the stars and silence. I could not go and I could not think and I could not stay there alone as I need to be alone because I can't do what I want to do with my own body. And who in the hell set things up like this? And in France, they say if the guy penetrates but does not ejaculate, then he did not rape me. And if after stabbing him, if after screams, if after begging the bastard, and if even after smashing a hammer to his head, if even after that, if he and his buddies fucked me after that, then I consented. And there was no rape. Because finally you understand, finally they fucked me over because I was wrong. I was wrong again to be me. Being me where I was, wrong to be who I am, which is exactly like South Africa, penetrating into Nambia, penetrating into Angola. And does that mean, how do you know if Pretoria ejaculates? What will the evidence look like? The proof of the monster jackboot ejaculation on black land. And if after Nambia, and if after Angola, and if after Zimbabwe, and if after all of my kinsmen and women resist even to self-immolation of the villages, and if after that we lose, nevertheless, what will the big boys say? Will they claim my consent? Do you follow me? We are the wrong people of the wrong skin on the wrong continent. And what in the hell is everybody being reasonable about? And according to the Times this week, back in 1966, the CIA decided that they had this problem, and the problem was a man named Nkrumah. So they killed him, and after that, it was Patrice Lumumba. And before that, it was my father on the campus of my Ivy League school, and my father afraid to walk into the cafeteria because he said he was wrong. The wrong age, the wrong skin, the wrong gender identity, and he was paying my tuition. And before that, it was my father saying I was wrong. saying that I should have been born a boy because he wanted one, a boy that I should have been lighter skinned, and that I should have straightened hair, and that I should not be so boy crazy, but instead I should just be one, a boy. But for that, it was my mother pleading plastic surgery for my nose and my braces for my teeth, and telling me to let the books loose, to let them loose. In other words, I am very familiar with the problems of the CIA and the problems of South Africa and the problems of Exxon Corporation and the problems of white America in general, and the problems of the teachers and the preachers and the FBI and the social workers, and my particular mom and dad. And I'm very familiar with the problems because the problems turn out to be me. I am the history of rape. I am the history of the rejection of who I am. I'm the history of the terrorized incarceration of myself. I am the history of battery assault and limitless armies against whatever I want to do with my mind and my body and my soul. And whether it's about walking out at night, or whether it's about the love that I feel, or whether it's about the sanctity of my vagina, or the sanctity of my national boundaries, or the sanctity of my leaders, or the sanctity of each and every desire that I know from my personal and idiosyncratic and indisputably single and singular heart, I have been raped because I have been wrong. The wrong sex, the wrong age, the wrong skin, the wrong nose, the wrong hair, the wrong need, the wrong dream, the wrong geographic, the wrong sartorial. I have been the meaning of rape. I have been the problem everyone seeks to eliminate by forced penetration with or without the evidence of slime. But let this be unmistakable. This poem is not consent. I do not consent to my mother, to my father, to the teachers, to the FBI, to South Africa, to Bedford-Stuyvesant, to Park Avenue and American Airlines, to the hardened idlers on the corners, to the sneaky creeps in cars. I am not wrong. Wrong is not my name. My name is my own, my own, my own. And I can't tell you who the hell set things up like this. But I can tell you that from now on, my resistance, my simple and daily and nightly self-determination may very well cost you your life. And that was a mouthful. And it makes me angry all over again. What I love about this poem, and there's many places, but what I think the overall thing that brings me to this poem again and again is the rage that is built into the words, into the stanzas. None of these things have changed, right? None of these things have changed. And so when you read it, I think that is where the anger boils back up, that June Jordan had the foresight to write something that had been plaguing women before her, and that she was certain would plague women following her, women born after her. So to hear the only thing that's changed are the names of the people that the CIA are targeting, or the streets in which women are allowed to walk, or the safety in which, bodies, brown bodies, other bodies, marginalized bodies do not feel safe being in when walking through this country is it's painful, and it's miraculous that she had the ability, with the lexicon that we all own, with the vocabulary that we all have access to, but with this bubbling anger, the way she was able to access it and write it into this poem is no less than a miracle. It really isn't. There's never a time when I read it and I am not shivering because of the magnitude of this piece. And I think that is what makes art into anthems. When you can have someone read the poem, whether you are there or not, and everything that you are surviving to write that poem in the first place unfolds itself, makes it uncomfortable for people. What does that require? What does that take? And it's not just truth, right? But bravery. It's not just truth, but bravery. To say the thing that you are scared to say the thing that you know is the engineing factor of a poem. To say that, that creates the anthem. That creates a time where the anthem can exist. That creates a space for the anthem to ring even after you stop reading the poem, even after you realize the poem is reading you. And the things that I'm looking at now that you can always turn back to are Franny Choi, who I feel is a contemporary, right? Obviously, she's a contemporary writer, but the poem that she did, Pork Fried Rice, is, oh God, it's another moment. It's another moment of bravery, and because it's not afraid of being angry. It is not afraid of charging our society to stop remaining silent, right? Your silence makes you complicit. And when you see these things, you're bound to action. And what does that mean about art that interrogates the audience? What happens when the poem interrogates the reader? Who are you in this world when this type of poem can exist? Are you a part of it? Are you watching it? Are you ignoring it? And are you instigating or initiating, such harms? Who are you? And that question of complicitness is also something that makes it an anthem. And so I'm going to read Pork Fried Rice to the man who shouted, "I like pork fried rice" at me on the street, by Franny Choi. You want to eat me out, right? What does it taste like? You wanted to eat me out, right, out of these jeans and into something a little cheaper, more digestible, more bite-sized, more thank you, come. I am greasy for you. I slick my hair with MSG every morning. I'm bad for you. Got some red light district between your teeth? What does it taste like? A takeout box between my legs? Plastic bag lady, flimsy white fork to snap in half, dispose of me. Tastes like dried squid, lips puffy with salt, lips brimming with foreign. So call me pork. Curly-tailed obscenity, been playing in the mud, dirty meat, worms in your stomach, give you a fever, dead meat, butchered girl chopped up and cradled in styrofoam, you candid cannibal. You want me bite-sized, no eyes clogging your throat. But I've been watching from the slaughterhouse ever since you named me edible, tossed in a cookie at the end, lucky man. Go and take what's yours. Name yourself archaeologist, but listen carefully to the squelches in your teeth and hear my soul squeal, scream, murder between molars. Watch salt awaken rid synapses. Watch me kick back to life. Watch my tentacles and teeth. Watch me resurrected electric. What does it taste like? Revenge, squirming alive in your mouth, strangling you quiet from the inside out. And there again is that moment. Who are you, reader, in this moment? Are you complicit? Are you watching? Have you seen it? Where do you stand? And how do you stand up? Crazy words, crazy words. And more crazy, right, is the idea that it exists. So you have poets who are bringing the life and the survival to the page. And then you have us reading and reliving and probably being traumatized all the while, because these type of poems remind you who you are in the world. And that's what I think makes an anthem too. Who are you not just are you complicit, but now who are you in the world, right? So what are you going to do after this poem is done? How are you going to live? For her to embed in here questions, it's also these great moments. And it's questions that she answers. She doesn't just ask you. She says, what does it taste like? A takeout box between my legs. It tastes like dried squid. So the answered question, the moment where you thought, oh, I can respond and have, a voice, and then snatches your voice away, is a moment of hopelessness and helplessness that the narrator is reliving and is then reverberating through the work. Again, this is like June Jordan when she repeats, I am wrong. Like an entire continent, I am wrong like them, right? I am wrong to my father, who started that by saying I should have been a boy because he wanted one. But then again, he is wrong class-wise. So here you have those moments. How do I respond? Can I say something? And the repetition shows you that right when you think you understand what's happening in the anthem, she says, I am not wrong. Wrong is not my name. My name is my own, my own, my own, my own. Anthems are all about repetition. All about repetition. So the last one we're going to read is Amiri Baraka. Somebody Blew Up America. And I left that as well. They say it's some terrorists, some barbaric Arab in Afghanistan. It wasn't our American terrorists. It wasn't the Klan or the skinheads or the them that blows up nigger churches or reincarnates us on death row. It wasn't Trent Lott or David Duke or Giuliani or Schindler Helms retiring. It wasn't the gonorrhea in costume, the white sheet diseases that have murdered Black people, terrorized reason, insanity, most of humanity as they pleases. They say, who say? Who do the saying? Who is them paying? Who tell the lies? Who in disguise? Who had slaves? Who got the bucks out of the bucks? Who got fat from plantations? Who genocide Indians, tried to waste the Black nation? Who live on Wall Street, the first plantation? Who cut your nuts off? Who raped your ma? Who lynched your pa? Who got the tar? Who got the feathers? Who had the match? Who set the fires? Who killed and hired? Who say they God and still be the devil? Who the biggest only? Who the most goodest? Who do God resemble? Who do Jesus resemble? Who created everything? Who is the smartest? Who the richest? Who the greatest? Who say you ugly and they be the good lookingest? Who define art? Who defined science? Who made the bombs? Who made the guns? Who bought the slaves? Who sold them? Who called you them names? Who say Dama wasn't insane? Who stole Puerto Rico? Who stole the Indies, the Philippines, Manhattan, Australia, and the Hebrides? Who forced opium on the Chinese? Who owned them buildings? Who got the money? Who think you funny? Who locked you up? Who owned the papers? Who owned the slave ship? Who run the army? Who the fake president? Who the ruler? Who the banker? Who owned the mine? Who twist your mind? Who got bread? Who need peace? Who you think need war? Who own the oil? Who do no toil? Who own the soil? Who is not a nigger? Who is so great ain't nobody bigger? Who own this city? Who own the air? Who own the water? Who own your crib? Who rob and steal and cheat and murder and make lies the truth? Who call you uncouth? Who live in the biggest house? Who do the biggest crime? Who go on vacation anytime? Who killed the most niggas? Who killed the most Jews? Who killed the most Italians? Who killed the most Irish? Who killed the most Africans? Who killed the most Japanese? Who killed the most Latinos? Who owned the ocean? Who owned the airplanes? Who owned the malls? Who owned television? Who owned radio? Who owned what ain't even known to be owned? Who owned the owners that ain't the real owners? Who owned the suburbs? Who sucked the cities? Who make the laws? Who made Bush president? who believe the Confederate flag needs to be flying, who talk about democracy and be lying, who the beast in Revelations, who 666, who know who decide Jesus get crucified, who the devil on the real side, who got rich from Armenian genocide, who the biggest terrorists, who changed the Bible, who killed the most people, who do the most evil, who don't worry about survival, who have the colonies, who stole the most land, who rule the world, who say they good but do only evil, who the biggest executioner, who own the oil, who want more oil, who told you what you think that later you find out a lie. Who found Bin Laden? Maybe they the Satan. Who paid the CIA? Who knew the bomb was gonna blow? Who know why the terrorists learned to fly in Florida, San Diego? Who know why 5 Israelis was filming the explosion and cracking their sides at the notion? Who need fossil fuel when the sun ain't going nowhere? Who make the credit cards? Who got the biggest tax cut? Who walked out of the conference against racism? Who killed Malcolm, Kennedy, and his brother? Who killed Dr. King? Who would want such a thing? Are they linked to the murder of Lincoln? Who invaded Grenada? Who made money from apartheid? Who keep the Irish a colony? Who overthrow Chile and Nicaragua later? Who killed David Sabiko, Chris Hani, the same ones who killed Biko, Cabral, Neruda, Alandi, Che Guevara, Sandino, who killed Kabili, the ones who wasted Lumumba, Mandela, Betty Shabazz, Dia, Princess Di, Ralph Featherstone, Little Bobby, who locked up Mandela, Daruba, Geronimo, Asada, Mumia, Garvey, Dashiell Hammett, Alpheus Hutton, who killed Huey Newton, Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers, Mikey Smith, Walter Rodney. Was it the ones who tried to poison Fidel, who tried to keep the Vietnamese oppressed, who put a price on Lenin's head, who put the Jews in ovens, and who helped them do it, who said America first and okayed the yellow stars, who killed Rosa Luxemburg, Lemonet, who murdered the Rosenbergs and all the good people iced, tortured, assassinated, vanished, who got rich from Algeria, Libya, Haiti, Iran, Iraq, Saudi, Kuwait, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Palestine, who cut off people's hands in the Congo, who invented AIDS, who put the germs in the Indians' blanket, who thought up the Trail of Tears, who blew up the Maine and started the Spanish-American War, who got Sharon back in power, who backed Batista, Hitler, Billy Bo, Chiang Kai-shek, who decided affirmative action had to go, Reconstruction, the New Deal, the New Frontier, the Great Society. Who do Tom ask Clarence work for? Who do come out the Colin's mouth? Who know what kind of skeezer is a Condoleezza? Who paid Connolly to be a wooden Negro? Who give genius awards to Homo Lucas subsidiary? Who overthrew Nkrumah Bishop? Who poisoned Robeson? Who tried to put Du Bois in jail? Who framed Rap Jamal Al-Amin? Who framed the Rosenbergs, Garvey, the Scottsboro brothers, boys, the Hollywood 10, who set the Reichstag fire, who knew the World Trade Center was going to get bombed, who told 4,000 Israeli workers at the Twin Towers to stay home that day. Why did Sharon stay away? Who? Explosion of Al, the newspapers say. The devil face could be seen. Who make money from the war? Who make dough from fear and lies? Who want the world like it is? Who want the world to be ruled by imperialism and national oppression and terror, violence and hunger and poverty? Who's the ruler of hell? Who's the most powerful? Who you ever know seen God? But everybody seen the devil, like an owl exploding in your life, in your brain, in yourself, like an owl who know the devil all night, all day. If you listen like an owl exploding in fire, we hear the questions rise in terrible flames, like the whistle of a crazy dog, like the acid vomit of the fire of hell. Who and who and who and who and who. So, one of the longest poems ever. And a fearless poem too. There might be moments in here that you do not agree with. There might be language that you do not approve of. But how art becomes anthem here, to me, is the questions that have no answers, the questions that you know the answer to, and the questions of how are we complicit. That repetition does the cycling for us again and again. And it's just not afraid to go on and on and on and on, because it is tireless, right? The fight is tireless. The discussion is tireless. And who are we as artists, as organizers, as activists, if we are afraid of saying everything, even if everything repeats itself, even if everything sounds asinine, even if everything is uncomfortable and makes it hard, makes the room crackle. The poems that are unafraid of being uncomfortable is the bedrock of becoming an anthem.